Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are fine. So, today we again are going to discuss the SWOT analysis. As in our previous lecture, we have discussed it considering the educational objectives, but today we'll discuss it at personal level how you can conduct a personal SWOT analysis. Let's first have a look what SWOT analysis means. SWOT analysis is an effective process that typically businesses and companies use to analyze the competitors and they use to analyze their strategies as well. I have already told you that the word SWOT it is an acronym where S stands for the strengths, W stands for the weaknesses, O stands for the opportunities, and D stands for the threats. So SWOT analysis is a very important exercise and it can be very helpful for the individuals whether you are looking for a new job or you are trying to climb the corporate ladder or you are working on your life goals. Now, what is personal SWOT analysis? Is a personal SWOT analysis, can actually help you in achieving your goals as it is the best creating material of self-assessment and it can help you in assess your life careers. Now, how a personal SWOT analysis can be done? What you have to do is the first thing that you need to do is you have to ask yourself the questions about each of the four areas being examined. Now, what are these four areas that you need, that are to be examined? First is the strengths and weaknesses, opportunities, and the threats. And the next thing what you need to do is you have to answer each of these questions from all of these areas that you have to answer very honestly because honesty is very crucial here, otherwise, the analysis will not generate the meaningful results with that in mind. Now, we'll discuss all these four areas one by one. First is our strengths. You know, here, just try to see yourself from the standpoint of a colleague or a bystander and new criticism with objectivity. You don't have to limit yourself to the strengths that you are currently exhibiting in your life or in your goal or in your job. So what you have to do is you have to list all of your strengths, even the ones that are being dominant for a while, and pay particular attention to the things that you have. So there are some questions that you can ask yourself as far as the strengths are concerned. And the first question you can ask yourself is that how are you different or unique and special from the others? What are your talents? What skills have you worked to develop? What do other people see as your strengths? What values and ethics set you apart from your peers? Or what are you good at naturally? So these are the questions you can ask yourself as far as the strengths are concerned. Now our next step is the weaknesses. The weaknesses, this part examines the areas in which you need to improve yourself and the things that will, set you back in your life and career. So, what are the questions here that you can ask yourself as far as the weaknesses are concerned? You can ask yourself, what would other people see as your weaknesses? Does any part of your education need improvement or a kind of, training? What are your negative work habits and traits? Where can you improve? And what are you afraid to do or most likely to avoid? So ask yourself all these questions and write answer on your paper. Now our next section is opportunities. Now here you have to look at the external factors that can take advantage to pursue your goals and dreams, be it at your work or be it in your life. Now, here are also some questions that you can ask yourself. And what are these questions that you can ask yourself as far as the opportunities are concerned? Is there any new technology in your industry? Or you can ask, is there any new demand for a skill or trait you possess? Or is your industry growing actually? Or, what is the state of economy? So these are the questions that you need to, question yourself and answer all of these questions very honestly. No, there are other things like networking events, educational classes, or conferences as well. Just try to look at your the strengths and ask yourself if they open up any of the opportunities, or look at your weaknesses and ask yourself if you could just open up opportunities by eliminating those weaknesses. Now, finally, let's have a look on the threats. This part, the threats, they take into account the external factors that could hurt your chances to attain your goals. So there are some factors that you need to take into account, and they include like, is your industry contracting or changing the directions, or do your weaknesses inhibit your ability to rise your company or in life, or are there any new professional standards you cannot meet? Or is there any strong competition for the types of jobs for which you are best fitted? Or you can even ask yourself what is the biggest external danger to your goals? Or you can either ask, are there any new technology, education, or certification requirements that will impede your progress? So once now you have filled up the matrices, there are two ways to analyze this information. First is the matching, and second is the converting. Now, what is matching and converting? Matching here means connecting two of the categories to determine the course of action. For example, matching strengths to opportunities, and this shows you where you have to be aggressive and where you have to take the action. On the other hand, matching, it weakens the threats and expose those areas you should work on or the situations to avoid, and it lets you know where to be more defensive of your position. And as far as the converting is concerned, to convert is to turn the negatives into the positives. Or, in other words, you can say that converting weaknesses into the strengths or converting threats into the opportunities. So, this can mean, growing a skill set through education, or maybe finding a creative way of feature a weakness as a strength. Now, once the personal SWOT analysis is complete, it's very crucial to follow, the insights you uncovered. So, SWOT analysis can fail to be effective if it simply is treated as a laundry list without any, having a look on how the elements identified in analysis can be put into play. For example, how can the identified strengths move the needle in the end ones to achieve the end goals, or how can one navigate a potential threat once it is identified, so as to ensure no ground is lost. The best outcome is to take action and succeed in the opportunities you have identified. The personal SWOT analysis can actually benefit you on the personal and the professional level as well, and set you apart from the peers and colleagues. So I hope you all will, conduct a personal SWOT analysis and answer each of the questions very honestly and write them on your paper, so that you can, identify your weaknesses, strengths, and opportunities and threats as well. So this is all about the personal SWOT analysis, and I'll see you tomorrow again with my new video lecture. Till then, take care, and I wish you all a very, very happy Eid.